Alright, so we live. Welcome to my first live in a long time, guys. So, I'm just gonna wait for a few people to get on the stream. And then we're gonna get started. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Try to adjust these mics a little bit. I'm gonna do a live mic check. Feel free to get at me in the chat. Test the chat, make sure it's working. Alright, the chat is working. Haven't done a live in a long time. Long time. So just gonna talk about some current events. Some interesting things going on. We're gonna talk about Trump out in England. Made some interesting statements. Particularly the statement he made about let's go to that. I'm gonna play the video in a minute. Just so, but he made some interesting statements while out in Britain, or the UK, I think we're calling it the UK now. So, about the 10 days, yeah, Trump is a total weirdo, but, mic check, so, hopefully you guys can hear me. If you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat and it sounds good. Appreciate that. If you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat. Let me know it sounds good. So, let's start off with Donald Trump and the statements he made in England. Let's start. I'm gonna play that video real quick. Let's go.
I'm gonna make a new deadline of about 10 or 12 days from today. No reason in waiting. There's no reason in waiting. It's 50 days. I want to be generous, but we just don't see any progress being made.
Поэтому, когда я смотрю на заявление Трампа, когда они говорят, что кончается терпение и что надо будет применить силу, это наше терпение заканчивается. И это мы можем применить такую силу, о которой ни Америка, ни Европа пока даже представления не имеют.
So let's stop that right there real quick, right? So Trump said he's running out of patience with the Russians, but we see the Russians said that they're actually running out of patience with Trump, right? So he threatens the Russians. He says, well, you guys got 50 days. And then he turns around and says, you guys got 10 days. Okay. Oh, I got an error message. You're not receiving enough video. Hopefully you guys can see me. I'm getting some error messages that there's an issue with the stream. Hopefully you guys can see me. So yeah, so anyway, so I'm just gonna push on. I'm gonna try not to make this too long. Yeah, so Putin says, well, the Russians said they're running out of patience, so Trump decides that he's going to give them a 10-day ultimatum. The issue with that is, with that 10-day ultimatum is, I think we're inching closer to war, all-out war. With the 10-day ultimatum, two things, right? So with the 10-day ultimatum that Trump gave the Russians, then the situation in Gaza, right, which is a horror show, right? Yeah, I mean, they said that, well, by September they're going to give Palestinian statehood to the Palestinians. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, that'll never happen. So the reason why we're definitely going to war is, well, the 10-day deadline that Trump gave Putin, number one, is whatever he does after that is escalatory. And then number two, the Israelis will never allow Palestinian statehood. So between those two things happening, you're looking at war on the horizon. And I'm not going to make this too long. It's kind of a test stream. I just want to see what happens with this stream, just testing it out. So, yeah, so basically between, I think those two events, I'm going to wait a little while, maybe a couple of weeks, just to see what happens with this 10-day situation. Because Trump is a taco. Trump always chickens out. He's the taco, right? So 10 days may go by, Russia may say, fuck you, and then he does nothing. Literally, like he just does nothing, right? Goes to McDonald's and gets some fries or something, just does nothing. Or he pours gasoline on a fire with the weapons shipments to Ukraine and putting sanctions on Russian trading partners, which will kind of piss off the Russians. So that's very escalatory. Now, then when you look at what's happening in Gaza, okay, the whole situation in Gaza, with different countries like, of course the U.S. is totally against Palestinian statehood, no matter what they say. They may say, oh yeah, we support the Palestinians. They don't support the Palestinians whatsoever. They don't give a shit. They're in the pocket of the Zionists, of the Israelis, of the Jews. So that is what it is. I mean, they all are, the Europeans. So I'm not really sure what this whole thing is with them talking about Palestinian statehood. It's all a farce. They'll never give the Palestinians statehood by choice. So what's probably going to happen is you're going to be looking at the Israelis are going to escalate, right? They're going to say, fuck this. Either we don't want to give them a state. We want to get rid of these people. So our only option now is war. So the Israelis' only option to stop a Palestinian state is war. And Trump gave the Russians 10 days. So you're kind of in a rock and a hard place, and it looks like that they're going to go ahead and escalate this whole thing over the next, I guess, couple of months, right? Which is cool, I mean, might as well pull off the Band-Aid. So now that's going to, economically, I think, like, for instance, that's going to hurt, be good for precious metals like gold and silver. It's probably bad for crypto, because I don't think crypto necessarily does good in a war setting. Like, the reason why I say that is because bombs and missiles destroy infrastructure, right? So, and you got Bitcoin mining, the servers in which that run the blockchains. Now, the servers that run the blockchains can get blown up. And they're smart enough to know that, right? So because of that, we know that there's an issue there with crypto. That's why you see crypto go down as wars escalate, because the smart money knows that, right? The smart money knows that crypto infrastructure can be bombed, and that could upset the blockchain. The only that could literally actually destroy blockchains. Now, the only blockchain that probably can't be destroyed would be the ICP blockchain. That probably wouldn't be affected, I think, as much as other blockchains. and because of the way that the technology lives in the cloud, right? So the code, the blockchain itself lives in the code in the cloud, not necessarily on servers like other blockchains. Like other blockchains need the servers to exist. ICP is pure software, so it's a little more resilient. So that's why you see that going on. And so yeah, like I'm not gonna make this too long. It's not a long live. I just really wanted to kind of a test live, but I saw a couple subjects, I wanted to kind of go over. I may cover. Let me pull that story out. Let me see. Yeah, here we go. Let's take a look at this real quick.
On the 7th of October 2023, Hamas perpetrated the worst massacre in Israel's history. Every day since then, the horror has continued. The hostages are still being held today. The Palestinian people have endured terrible suffering. Now, in Gaza, because of a catastrophic failure of aid, we see starving babies, children too weak to stand, images that will stay with us for a lifetime. The suffering must end. Yesterday I discussed this with President Trump, and we're mounting a major effort to get humanitarian supplies back in by air, and UK aid has been airdropped into Gaza today, and crucially, by land. We need to see at least 500 trucks entering Gaza every day. But ultimately, the only way to bring this humanitarian crisis to an end is through a long-term settlement. So we are supporting the US, Egyptian and Qatari efforts to secure a vital ceasefire. That ceasefire must be sustainable, and it must lead to a wider peace plan, which we're developing with our international partners. This plan will deliver security and proper governance in Gaza and pave the way for negotiations on a two-state solution. Our goal remains a safe and secure Israel alongside a viable and sovereign Palestinian state. But right now, that goal is under pressure like never before. I've always said that we will recognize a Palestinian state as a contribution to a proper peace process at the moment of maximum impact for the two-state solution.
So let me stop that right there and say bullshit. Let me call bullshit immediately on that, right? I call bullshit. So there will be no Palestinian state. There will be war, right? That's something you have to understand. There will be no Palestinian state. This is all a dog and pony show. Why? The Israelis will never allow it. And because of that, they're gonna pull out all the stops. No telling, so between now and probably September, there's no telling what you're gonna see. I'm expecting blood in the streets, literally, like, you know what I mean? Like, you might see anything, UFOs, you might see, who knows what what these neocon, Zionists, satanic entities are gonna do to try and make sure that none of this happens. And maybe, I don't even think, because these are the people that caused it. People like Keir Starmer, Trump, France, the EU, they backed Israel. They've caused all of this. And I don't think they want to stop it. They just want to give their constituencies the appearance that they want to stop. Because there's large swaths of their constituency that don't want to see these genocidal racist maniacs doing what they're doing. So they want to keep the sheep calm. So they'll say, oh yeah, we got it. We're going to fix it. We're going to Palestinian state. Yeah, that's right. But in all actuality, there will be no Palestinian state. They know it because that's not something they ever wanted. I mean, I wouldn't believe it unless I saw it, and I just don't believe it. I think what they're gonna do, I mean, well, it's out of their control. What their handlers are gonna do is escalate this whole thing. You're gonna see them go back into Iran, and you know, they're gonna push the line in Gaza. I expect that the humanitarian crisis will get worse. I expect that they will pull back aid. Yeah, I don't know. I see them, you know, I see the whole thing falling apart. All right? And so you have to, you know, brace for impact, because they're going to, everything's a setup for this war, and it looks like, I say give it a couple of weeks. I'm waiting to see what happens with Trump in 10 days. If Trump goes hard in 10 days, after his little 10-day, 12 day, I mean, what are you talking about, dude? Are you an Alzheimer's patient? It's either 10 days or 12 days. What do you mean 10 or 12 days? I mean, this dude is such a weirdo, right? So anyway, so in his little, when we finally get to like the 10-day situation, and we see Russia is ignoring them, and we see what they do, then we'll see where they're at. I think about 10 days with that Russian situation. Now, and then after that, so you'll see them, so they're kind of escalating incrementally, right? So they're going to escalate Russia, then they're going to escalate in the Middle East, then they're going to escalate in Russia, then they're going to escalate in the Middle East. So you'll see them like shift back and forth very quickly. They'll pivot. And so, yeah, once the 10 days is up, from there, I expect things to really accelerate. So I think people should, you know, expect that. Yeah, I mean, the Gaza situation is a horror show. You know, it's a total horror show. So, but yeah, this was just a test stream. I'm gonna probably hop back on another day. I just want to make sure the stream works, and I'll go over some other stuff with you guys. Also, stay tuned. I'm going to be doing some remote viewing projects, and I will be posting them. Hopefully, I get some. Like, I'm not in control of the targets, but hopefully, I get some targets that may give you some insight into this whole, whether Ukraine or Gaza. Or Gaza. So, but we'll see. Anyway, we'll see. So, but that's all for now. Take care, guys. Like, subscribe, share.